Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. So today is going to be sort of touching up on a little bit of what I was saying in the last video, which if you don't know, I was basically ranting about a generalized sort of like obstruction of the LGBTQ. So generally speaking, I don't like the LGBT and I'm gay, and it's one of the things that I've been most passionate about in my life because the LGBT has really put a bad look on people like myself who are just normal, who happen to look like they're a part of the LGBT, and they're assumed to be a part of it simply because they're gay. And it's one of those things that I've always been passionate about because I don't like people telling me what I am or what I'm not. But this video is basically talking about maturity within the LGBT. It's something that I don't see anybody talking about too much, and to me it's been the most obvious aspect of it. Because you have all these people dressing up like 6-year-olds, wearing skirts and like bright colors, dyeing their hair pink, blue, and green, and all other sorts of colors, and they're wearing like these fucking like pendants all over their body, and they just look ridiculous. But set aside that, that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. No judgment at all. However, it's when their personality and their attitude matches that appearance that it becomes an issue. It's when you start screaming and crying and shouting obscenities at normal people because you assume that they're a Nazi or you assume that they're this or that. You're putting labels on people and blaming them for things they had nothing to do with, and then once somebody calls you out on it, you start crying and trying to play victim. And I've even had people try to tell me that, oh, you're exaggerating. It's not that bad. Like, people in the LGBT are very smart and intelligent, and I would argue that they're the opposites. I mean, dude, I lived in a situation for a long time where every day that I walked outside the house, there was something about how, oh, white people hate trans children and all this other shit. I'm literally in the grocery store waiting in line to check out my groceries, and I'm standing behind somebody with a shirt where on the backside it says, trans youth are dying. And it's like, in my mind, a lot of these people are just performers. They don't actually look up any statistics, they don't do any research, they don't go out of their way to find any information or fact check anything. Because keep in mind, again, we're not at a protest here, this is the grocery store. This person dresses like this every single day. It's like those kids that go to Hot Topic and buy parachute pants and a fucking Gurr hoodie. And it's something that's become very prevalent in recent years that I call politics aesthetic, where you pretend to care about certain issues but lack the actual esteem to go out and find the answers and the truth to those things. And now you might be wondering, what does the LGBTQ have to do with politics aesthetic? Pretty much everything. They're the ones that basically invented it. And I'll go even further. What does this have to do with politics? Once again, pretty much everything. You're going out and you're buying clothes that represent a certain issue you don't give a fuck about, that you don't even have the ethic to go out and, research yourself and develop your own opinion. You follow the crowd, what all these other people are saying, and you don't go anywhere past that. And then you go out and scream about these things at protests where you're going out and you're breaking things, you're screaming at people, threatening to kill people, you're throwing rocks at oncoming cars. It's that's all the signs of an immature 12-year-old who doesn't have a father in the home and doesn't know how to control himself. And one thing that I find incredibly ironic is for the past 3 to 4 years, they've been really shoving it, pounding it down our throats, that everybody hates trans people. Trans people are oppressed. White people hate trans people, all this and that. And it's that was never true, not even once. Nobody cares that you're transgender. At this point, they simply want people to hate them. And we're really getting to a point now in our society where it's actually coming true. All this woke propaganda that's been pushed by these people for the last decade is literally causing normal human beings to become actually transphobic and homophobic. And you know what they say, if they push a certain idea for a long enough amount of time, it actually becomes true. And at this point, nobody wants to see trans people anymore. Nobody wants to talk to them. Nobody wants to listen to them. Everybody's sick of their shit because they're going around bossing people all over the place, calling people fascists and Nazis. Meanwhile, you're not allowed to criticize them or say anything bad about trans people or the LGBTQ, otherwise you're a Nazi. That doesn't make any sense. You realize that the real dictators of the world suppress free thought, right? And so it's this idea that all trans people and LGBTQ can do no wrong, and they've been wronged, they've been dealt the bad cards. It's like, it's just more of a sign of your mental illness. You can't see that, then you're mentally ill. But then there's like the scientific argument where people talk about how if you're a man, you can't just become a woman, and if you're a woman, you can't just become a man. You are what you are. You can't change that no matter what you do. And in my opinion, it is a mental illness. But the sad thing is they hear mental illness and they go completely fucking insane. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. And 90% of the time, if they're getting angry and unhinged at that whole argument that a man can't be a woman and a woman can't be a man, it's not because you're transphobic, it's because you're right. And I know somebody might say, well, isn't this video about the LGBTQ? Why are you talking about trans people so much? Because that's like the end all be all. If you're not transgender, then you're not LGBTQ. But it also makes me wonder why a gay person like myself keeps getting lumped into the same group. And I'm sorry, like I would say, like if they actually were smart enough to run their own statistics, I would say at least 90% of the LGBTQ is transgender. Like, dude, do you just remember when like liberals used to just smoke weed? Like, I feel like 90% of the problems we have today are because they're not doing that. But so this video doesn't drag on for too long, ultimately the conclusion to this video is that the next time you see anybody of the LGBT or a trans person or somebody acting out in public, just remember, that's not an adult, that's a 12-year-old child who just got told to get off the Xbox. But anyway guys, thanks again for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.